Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Review to Review, the show where we go back and watch movies to see if we still like them. As always, my name is Adam, and this is Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Kia ora.
What language is that?
Māori.
Oh. He's from New Zealand. And this week we're going to be talking about the 2017 movie Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins. So when I did see the movie in theaters, I enjoyed it a lot, but I did keep drawing comparisons between Captain America, the First Avenger, and not just because both movies feature a soldier named Steve who fights in the World War, falls in love with the strongest woman he's ever encountered just to sacrifice himself in a plane at the end of the movie. Spoilers, by the way. Now, Wonder Woman was originally created in 1943 by William Moulton Marston, and without going too deep into his background, he was a scientist who apparently spent his free time writing plays and stories, and he was one of the few people who actually advocated for comic books and the fact that they could be used for education. He did, however, have issue with the fact that most superheroes solve their problems with violence, and he felt that a character should be able to solve their problems with love and compassion. And when he brought up this idea to his wife, it was actually her who said, "Hey, that's a great idea, but make her a woman," and so Wonder Woman was born. And even though he wanted his character to be loving and compassionate, he wanted the character to be just as strong as Superman. Because in his eyes, he felt the perfect superhero would be a character that could use love, beauty, and compassion to subdue any villain they may face. And I specifically bring that all up because when you look at Gal Gadot's casting, you can see that she was cast with all these ideas in mind. Because when you look at her background, not only does she have beauty pageant experience as Miss Israel, but she also has military experience in the Israeli Defense Force, so she actually spent 2 years of her life training people how to fight. Beautiful woman, check. Strong woman, check. But not only is the character strong, but she also has a bit more nuance to her. Diana is a bit naive. So the movie starts off with the Themyscira, and you see young Diana watching in awe as the Amazons train. Now, her mother Hippolyta originally doesn't want her to be trained, but Diana refuses to not be a part of the strongest military force in all of human history. The Amazons, the protectors of mankind, the last line of defense for humanity. She very much believes in the legend of the Amazons, which is that the Amazons were put on Earth to protect all of humanity from itself. And so she spends her entire life training and living up to that ideal, even when her fellow Amazons seem to have grown a bit weary on exactly what their purpose is. And that's something I love about Diana. Not only does she want to be the strongest of the Amazons, she believes wholeheartedly in their mission to keep mankind safe. She only wants to protect mankind, and quite frankly, that's something that I love Patty Jenkins seems to understand about a superhero. Your superheroes have to want to protect people. Throughout the entire movie, you see Diana only doing things to help other people. You can't go 10 minutes in the movie without her doing something selfless and in a very natural, caring way that you would expect from a superhero. Diana is training for what is presumably thousands of years. She becomes the strongest of the Amazon, and one day a blue-eyed, blonde-haired angel comes crashing out of the sky into the beach. I know plenty of women who've been asking for a Chris Pine to fall out of the sky flight. Shit, a couple of guys too, and it hasn't happened yet. Yet. Anything can happen. Unfortunately, a whole bunch of German soldiers follow Steve Trevor to the beach and are decimated on sight. Seriously, the first couple of shots are fired, the Amazons just come out full force. Arrows, swords, axes, people are doing backflips off of horses. It's the craziest shit, and I can only imagine how horrified. Actually, you can see how horrified these soldiers are as they're being decimated by ancient Greek warriors.
The pinnacle of German engineering.
Boats. Rowboats. Or wait, is Chris Pine the pinnacle of German engineering?
I mean, he'd be the pinnacle of British engineering, wouldn't he?
Would he? He's American.
No. Fuck. I'll put that in the video.
I'll make it fit. Now, once the damage is done, the Amazons take Steve Trevor hostage, and they find out that there's actually a massive war going on, a war that involves the whole world. It's supposed to be the last one of its kind, so great.
Ah!
Yeah, history. Now, Diana, believing in mankind, is under the impression that Ares is nudging humanity along to kill one another, and she wants to do everything she can to stop it. So she agrees to free Steve Trevor as long as he agrees to take her to the front lines of the war. Yeah. And that does lead into how they wrote Steve Trevor. They could have easily made him a dumb guy who needed to be put in his place, but he's pretty open-minded for a guy in the 1930s. Maybe a bit more open-minded than that. He doesn't ever seem to get in Diana's way. He's always there to support her and accept her help when he gets it. And like any good character relationship, you can see Diana and Steve bounce off of one another. You get a couple of fish out of water scenarios. She has a very innocent view of the world because she's not gotten to experience, and he has a very rigid view of the world because he's grown up in it. He's also in the military. And you can see that a little bit too when she catches him in the bath and she sees his watch. He lets her know that it tells time, so you know when to go to sleep, when to eat, when to go to work. And she sees it and she goes, "Oh, so you let this little thing tell you how to live your whole life." And that's an incredibly valid point. Even to this day, we're convinced that our entire life is broken down to a matter of hours, and that we have to fit our entire existence into that time frame. Diana, on the other hand, sees that for the shackle that it is and calls it out for how ridiculous it is. And they do have moments of confrontation, especially when it comes to saving lives. You can see that Wonder Woman wants to save as many people as possible, but Steve understands that in a war there are casualties. Sometimes you have to make the hard choice for the greater good. Diana, on the other hand, refuses to accept that and sees it as her responsibility to do every little thing she can to move forward. And you see this all culminate in this perfect moment on the battlefield. Her coming out of the trenches, taking off her coat, having the Wonder Woman garb underneath, which is kind of confusing because I thought she was wearing a dress. But hey, it looks really cool, so I'm not going to question it too much. And you just see her confidently walk across the battlefield, deflecting bullets, shrugging off mortars. And again, it's funny to see Steve because he's not like, oh crap, we gotta protect her. Oh man, we gotta keep her safe. It's, hey, she's taking the fire. Let's move, man. And in this moment of absolute desperation, you see all these people come together and push forward. Honestly, I love the entire scene. It was so cool to see. All the choreography was so well done. The only complaint I have is the Wonder Woman score they've chosen. It's a leftover from Batman vs. Superman. I don't know how much input Zack Snyder had on it, but yeah, I'm not super crazy about that guitar sounding whatever. Everything else though, and every other piece of music in the entire movie is fantastic. So as Wonder Woman's fighting all these badass things, you're hoping she has an equally badass villain, and she just doesn't. Probably my biggest complaints about the movie are the villains, and then probably at the very end of the movie, it turns into a CGI schlock fest. The two villains that you originally presented as the main villains are Dr. Poison and General German sounding name. Is it offensive to call him Sauerkraut? I'm gonna call him General Sauerkraut.
Ludendorff.
Ludendorff. Yeah, I'm calling him Sauerkraut. So Dr. Poison and General Sauerkraut are trying to team up against the world. You, as well as Wonder Woman, are under the impression that Sauerkraut over here is Ares. He's not. And the entire time you see these two, I kept getting flashbacks to Boris and Natasha from the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoon. There's even a scene where they fill a room full of gas to kill a whole bunch of people, and then as they do so, they look at each other, cover their mouths, and giggle. So if Sauerkraut is an Ares, who is? Well, it is apparently the werewolf from Harry Potter. A fantastic actor, but when I think of Ares, I don't think of a skinny British dude with a pencil-thin mustache. Not a mustache, a mustache. The only thing they could do to make him seem more like Ares is cover him in CGI armor and then throw him at Wonder Woman. Not only is the CGI distracting, but that whole final fight looks exactly like the fight scene from Batman vs. Superman. Just replace Doomsday with Ares and you got the exact same thing. Honestly, I still love the movie. The first 2/3 of the movie are easily the best 2/3 of any DC movie that we've seen probably to date. It's just kind of unfortunate that they sort of dropped the ball at the end there with the CGI fight that you've seen 1,000 times before. Now, going back and watching this movie again, I enjoyed it a lot more. I felt like I was able to understand the characters a lot better. I felt like all the heroes' motivations made perfect sense, and they were perfectly fleshed out people who interacted really well with one another in ways you would expect different people to interact with one another. It's just that all the villains are very cartoony, two-dimensional as fuck, and very forgettable. And I'm really hoping that's something they fixed with Wonder Woman 1984. I, for one, am actually really looking forward to Kirsten Wiig playing Cheetah, but that's something we'll have to wait until the world quits ending for us to figure out. So my final thoughts are, of course I'm going to recommend this movie. It is the first female-led superhero movie, and it's a very good movie to go and see for anybody. If you like comic books, fantastic. If you want a strong female-led movie, it's fantastic. If you want a fantasy-based period piece, it's fantastic. Really, my only complaints are the villains and the CGI, but that's only 1/3 of the movie. You still got 2/3 of a fantastic movie to see. If you somehow haven't seen it yet and you're waiting on what I have to say about it, well, I just spoiled the entire movie for you, but yeah, still, go ahead, sit down and watch it. Have a good time. So that's everything I thought about the movie, but I'm more than curious about your opinion, so please share with us. If you agree with me, great. If not, let's fight about it. Thanks for coming back. We're glad to see you. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to us. We got a couple of new videos coming out, including anime reviews and video game reviews, and of course, our movie reviews. Speaking of which, next week's going to be Justice League, and after that, we want to go in a different direction, so we actually want to throw it to you. Which movie series do you think we should tackle next? The Phase 1 Marvel movies, or all of the Power Rangers movies? Josh hasn't seen any of those yet, so I'm going to make him watch all of them. Go ahead and put your vote in the comments below, and whichever one wins will be the videos that we choose. Which means Mason will probably choose our next series of videos. Hey Mason. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next week. Say bye, Josh.
Bye.
Later.